Imagine this: you wake up on an ordinary morning, turn on the TV, and there's a sensational headline.
Breaking news. The world's wealthiest people have announced an unprecedented move. They are voluntarily sharing their fortunes with everyone on Earth.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bernard Arnault, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and many others, names that just yesterday symbolized unimaginable power and wealth. And today, it's as if they've laid down their crowns. Their bank accounts are emptied, giant corporations handed over to a global trust, and trillions of dollars are flowing into a digital distribution system. The world freezes. No one believes it's real. But within seconds, a notification arrives: funds have been deposited into your account. People laugh, cry, call their relatives. Cameras capture moments that will go down in history. And yet, no one truly understands what awaits humanity next. And before we continue, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. How much money exists on Earth? To grasp the scale of what's happening, let's take a look at the raw numbers. There are several ways to measure money in the world. Liquid money: this includes cash, deposits, and bank accounts. As of 2024, the total amount is around $123 trillion. If we divide that among the world's population, more than 8.2 billion people, it comes out to about $15,000 per person. All global wealth. This isn't just money, but also houses, factories, companies, land, cars, stocks, bonds, everything that holds value. The sum of this pie is about $500 trillion. Divided among the same 8.2 billion people, that equals roughly $62,000 each. $62,000. For a billionaire and for someone homeless. For a child and for a retiree. For a resident of a New York skyscraper and for a shepherd in Ethiopia. Everyone becomes equal. It sounds like utopia. But what would actually happen? In the first hours, there is jubilation. In African villages, families are buying clean water, medicine, and clothing for the very first time. In India, people are paying off debts that have dragged on for decades. In Europe and the United States, mortgages and loans are being closed, cars are bought, and electronics vanish from store shelves. In Brazil, crowds in the favelas celebrate. Everyone now has the means to start a new life. The images broadcast on television and social media resemble a global festival. It feels as if the world has entered a new era of equality. But the joy does not last long. The economy is a delicate mechanism. It does not tolerate sudden movements. Within a few weeks, the first problems begin. Inflation. When everyone has money but the supply of goods remains the same, prices start to rise. Bread that once cost $1 now costs 10. Rent skyrockets. People may be richer, but everything around them becomes more expensive. Labor crisis. Why work as a cleaner if you already have tens of thousands of dollars? Why stand at a factory machine or drive a bus? People begin abandoning hard and undesirable jobs en masse. As a result, transportation, sanitation, and agriculture start to collapse. Business meltdown. Small businesses, which relied on cheap labor, vanish. Even large corporations grind to a halt. Their shareholders have suddenly been wiped out, and ownership structures fall apart. The celebration gives way to unease. People begin to realize, wealth on paper is no guarantee of stability. History has already seen attempts to equalize people in wealth. The USSR. Equality was proclaimed, but soon new elites emerged, the party nomenclatura. People had equal salaries, yet access to scarce goods was distributed through connections. China under Mao. Millions were leveled into poverty, while power ended up concentrated in the hands of a few. Libya under Gaddafi. Oil revenues were shared among citizens. The standard of living improved, but the system collapsed with political instability. Finland, 2017 to 2018. An experiment with basic income, €560 per month. People became happier, but the economy did not change dramatically. The conclusion is clear: money can be redistributed, but human nature and social structures evolve far more slowly. Now imagine the world's wealthiest people chose a different path. Instead of transferring millions into personal accounts, they invested trillions into projects. Building free hospitals and universities across the globe. Launching worldwide clean energy programs. Bringing internet access even to the most remote villages. Creating new jobs in science and technology. Instead of a pile of cash in your pocket, humanity gains systemic changes that last for decades. This is a different scenario, and one much closer to real progress. Now let's imagine the most radical scenario. All wealth, houses, factories, land, companies, stocks, is merged into a single global fund and divided equally. Every person receives their share, $62,000. At first, a golden era begins. Poverty disappears. All children have access to education. Everyone has a roof over their head and access to healthcare. Crime declines. There is no longer a need to steal for bread. It seems humanity has finally discovered the recipe for happiness. But just a year passes, and equality begins to melt away. Some invested their money and earned even more. Some spent it all and were left with nothing again. Some started a business, and became wealthy. Some lost everything at the casino. New rich people appear, and new poor people too. The curve of wealth distribution bends once again. It's like an hourglass. No matter how often you flip it, the sand always ends up on the top and bottom. There's an even deeper question: what does sudden wealth do to a person? Euphoria and chaos. Many people don't know how to manage large sums of money. Studies show that 70% of lottery winners are poor again within a few years. Loss of purpose. When the struggle for survival disappears, many lose motivation. Why work? Why study? An identity crisis sets in. Freedom for creativity. But there's another side. Millions of people can finally pursue science, art, or travel. Perhaps from this experiment, a new Einstein or a new Mozart could emerge. History knows examples when an abundance of resources gave rise to great eras of art. In ancient Greece, free citizens unburdened by survival created philosophy and theater. In Renaissance Italy, wealthy patron families financed artists and scientists. In the 20th century United States, economic prosperity fueled a boom in science and culture. If suddenly every person had the conditions for life and creativity, perhaps a new golden age of art, science, and technology awaits us. But it's important to remember, wealth does not solve all problems. Ambition and power. Even with equal money, people will still compete for influence. Conflicts and politics. Resource equality does not erase national, religious, or cultural tensions. New elites. People with charisma and organizational skills will once again gather power and wealth around themselves. The experiment will show, money can be equalized, but human nature cannot. So, if the wealthiest people shared all their fortune, the world would change. Poverty would vanish. Millions would get a chance at a new life. But along with this, new problems would arise: inflation, chaos, and inequality in a new form. And the main takeaway: real value isn't in money, but in opportunities, access to education, healthcare, safety, and chances for personal growth. Now, a mirror for you. What would you do if tomorrow your account held $62,000, divided equally among all of humanity? Would you start a business? Create something great? Or simply spend it all within a year? The answer to this question is the true key to understanding why the world is the way it is. If you enjoyed the video, show your support with a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on new episodes.